Welcome to the Reflective Speaker Series. How are you guys doing?
Hey, I
Excellent.
guess I'm assuming you're talking to us. I don't know.
I'm talking to everyone, to the audience, and to both of you as well.
Okay.
Excellent.
Great. This is such an interesting topic this evening, speaking intentionally. And the thing is that many times we don't even pause before we speak. Whatever comes to our lips, we just kind of let it out. We don't even process what we're going to say, you know, and we really need to be intentional about what we're going to say. Because the thing is that for growth and development to happen, we have to be intentional. We have to be mindful of what we're going to say. Because whatever you say, you can't take it back. It's already out. It's already out. So that is why you have to be so careful in what you're saying. Because as I said, once it's out there. So this evening, we've got Will in the house. He's one of our co-hosts, and he's going to address this topic in depth. And especially like if we're talking about leadership as well, if you're in a company or in an organization or in a community, or you have to be intentional of what you're speaking. If you're in your home environment, you're in front of your kids, you have to be intentional what you're speaking, because remember, they're listening. So it's an habit that we need to have in everything that we're doing. That's supposed to be a habit with us, speaking intentional. Because the thing is that, as I said again, I'm going to say it again, when the word comes out, you can't take it back. It's already out. So this evening, just grab a notepad, grab a pen, because Will is going to enrich you this evening with speaking intentionally and how you can really pause and do some self-reflection, the way how you speak and how it can benefit the words and that you're going to say, how it can benefit an individual when you're ready to speak. Because words have power. Words have power. And when you say a word and when it gets out there, it has the power to form. So you have to be, again, intentional what you are saying. It is very important that we really acknowledge speaking intentionally. But I'm just going to touch the surface, and Will is going to get below the surface. So this evening, thank you for joining us. If this is the first time joining the Reflective Speaker Series, we want to welcome you. And don't forget to subscribe to Soul, Light, and Body. And if you are a speaker and you're sitting there and you're saying to yourself, I really don't know how am I going to do this? Just get in contact with myself or Joan or Will, and we're going to bring you into this platform that you can make that special pitch. You don't have to be afraid. This space here is a safe space for you, that you will feel very comfortable and you can make that pitch. And when you make that pitch, you never know who is going to listen. So just make contact with us. All our links is in the comments, in the footnotes, and just contact us and we will be able to do something for you. So I am Karen Pascal, holistic health and wellness coach, and a co-author of 2 books with my sister Joan and my daughter, Your Gut in You and Self-Care is Intentional. And if you haven't picked up a copy as yet, it's time that you really grab yourself copies, because Your Gut in You is going to tell you so much things about your body. It has the potential to heal itself, the type of foods that you should be focusing on. And self-care is intentional. It's not only going to the spa alone. It's so much other things to make up a whole holistic lifestyle. So go grab yourself copies on Amazon, or you could present somebody for the birthday, anniversary, whatever, you know. Just grab yourself some copies. And we are having a masterclass in the coming weeks. We are doing a masterclass, myself and Joan, and the masterclass is going to be life changing. And we got as we go along, we're going to give you some more information that you can be a part of this masterclass. Seats are limited, so you got when you see it come out, you just got to grab yourself the seat so you can be a part of this extraordinary transformational spring forward. It's a time to spring forward.
Yeah.
It's a time. So I'm going to hand the mic now over to Joan. Well, welcome once again into this space. You're truly an amazing person. Thank you for being here.
Thank you. Thank you. I want to hear Joan now, though.
Wow, great opening as always.
Oh,
We're in the month of March. Welcome to everyone who's joining tonight and those who's going to be catching us on the replay. It's a great topic tonight. We're going to be talking about intentionality. And when we start, many of us, when we start the year, we set out a resolution, what I want my year to look like. And you start to think and you start to imagine, you start to envision what do I want it to look like? What I want it to be. But sometimes you can start a year with one word. One word. And the word that we start this year with is intentionality. Moving with intention. Staying in level of focus. Your purpose. Mindfulness. Everything you do, you move with that level of intention. Because you want a level of clarity. How are you going to move forward? And then you want to live from the end. Because all of that is setting those intentions and moving in intentionality. So we just want to congratulate all of you who taking those bold steps, making those bold moves, pushing past fear, moving beyond setbacks, rejection, no's, and using that to propel you forward because you know that you're taking that step and redirecting whatever it is that had gotten you setback or the fear, whatever it is, you're using that to push you forward because you're tapping into your inner wisdom. You're tapping into your inner self, and you know within yourself, you believe it, you're in yourself, and you know I have what it takes. What are your I ams? When you start in your daily morning, your routine, whatever, what are your I am? What are you telling yourself? What are you embodying? Are you saying, I am capable? I am special. I know who I am. I know that I have that within me, that whatever my goal that I'm setting and I'm working towards, I am capable of accomplishing that. And even though I may have setbacks, even though I may have failures, I can push forward because I'm using that new experience, new understanding, new wisdom that is going to guide me forward. And as I lean into my inner wisdom, as I lean into my inner self, I'm using that to guide me. I'm stopping and I'm pausing daily, honing in on that time so that I can stay strong, I can stay center, I can stay balance. Are you getting it out into nature? That's part of being intentional too. You're
Mhm.
getting it out into nature and honing in on that level of energy, being one with nature, be inspired so that you can live the life you want and that you can walk in your power. So when you show up, you're showing up with your all. You're walking with a level of excellence because, again, you know who you are. You know what your I am is or are because they're more than one. So tonight, sit back, relax, Enjoy. We got a great takeaways for you tonight. And Will is going to bring us this great subject talk, discussion, conversation because he always entered the space and gave us so much goodies. He always served us so well that when you leave the space, whether you on live or you catch on the replay, you have so much info that expand your toolbox and expand your toolkit so you can move forward in life knowing that I got something that I can propel myself forward and feel stronger. I'm Joan Williams, holistic health and wellness coach, and so many other things that we do, but I'm not going to take up much time tonight. Will, welcome to the space. It's always a pleasure, and thank you for your time being here.
Yeah, let me thank you for that introduction. You know, the three of us host this show. We co-host it, and from time to time, one of us, which I have mentioned in a previous show, that you ladies are going to be on the other side, and I'm going to be asking you. So look forward to that because you're going to get a chance to actually get behind the scenes with them in one of these shows. So they're going to speak, and you get a chance to really feel what they actually do. And so I'm looking forward to that show. And I'm going to, get a time to set it up. Right now, we haven't even had a chance to talk about what date,
Right.
time, anything like that. But we're going to get to it. And you, the general public, are going to be really blessed to listen to these two ladies speak. I'm telling you. Tonight, I'm going to be on the opposite side of the table, so I'm actually the guest on the
He's here.
show. And I'm going to speak to you about speaking intentionally, right? And as I get ready to get into this speech here, I'm going to talk a little bit about what words are. I have to, kind of cover that all the time because words are more than just simple verbs and syllables that you use here. They have a power to them. They have an energy to them. And so there are words that you use that are everyday words that actually mean more than what you think they do. Okay, so like let's say before I get into this, simple words like is, you, yours, those are simple words that everybody uses. Now, the difference in me using these words or you using those words is I've studied the frequency and energy of these words. And so when I use them, I'm speaking them with a sense of, let's say, uh, I want to connect with you. And so when I speak with it, those words are going to your subconscious. So I'm going to tell
Right.
you right off the bat, when I'm speaking to you, I'm talking to your subconscious. And so, like right now, I'm going to introduce myself. Right now, I'm going to let you in on a little secret as I do this. I am Will. Tonight, I'm going to speak about speaking intentionally. Now, if you notice at the beginning of that, I said I am. That went into your subconscious. Okay? So I am is in your subconscious now. And you won't register it right now, but it's there. Okay? And that's what I'm doing is I'm putting energy into your subconscious of what I want you to absorb from this speech I'm about to give and the words that I'm going to use. Okay? So even if your conscious is doing other things right now, that's not who I'm talking to. Even though you're looking at me and listening to me, I'm talking directly to your subconscious. And so whenever you speak to somebody, that's who you're speaking to. Because a lot of times people are busy and they're looking at you, but they don't hear you. And so when you just use the words as in I'm connecting, I'm speaking to you in a connective way, it's not being registered because you're not talking to the subconscious. So people who speak that view this as an art form understand that. See, so what I'm doing is I'm like a painter. I'm painting a canvas. I'm creating. So when I speak to you, that's what I'm speaking directly into your subconscious, so I can deliver that message to you, and then you can walk away from it. And in a timely manner, sometime later, what I said to your subconscious, you will use it. It will come out to where at some point you can use the information that I'm about to feed you, that I just fed you, as a matter of fact, too, about the secret of frequency and energy in words. And so, with that, let me tell you what speaking intentionally is. It's basically when you speak with awareness and purpose. That's all it really is, okay? Those two words, awareness, is what you have to bring, and then your purpose is also included in whatever you speak. So you connect those two things whenever you're speaking intentionally to someone. And like, let's say I want to include a little bit of sales in this tonight too as I speak through this. Because a lot of people right now, I get bombarded with DMs and messages, emails every single day from somebody trying to sell something, right? And I like to read through stuff too because I like to hear pitches. I love a pitch because I want to see what you actually are. Do you know how to actually sell what you're trying to sell? A lot of people call themselves salesmen, but trying to actually sell that is a totally different thing than you just
Sure.
speaking it. Like I'm gonna give you a quick short story as we get into this. I'm at a dealership yesterday and I'm talking to one of the sales reps, right? So we're talking and I'm asking him about his technique and what how the business is going. Are you selling anything? So a couple of things that stood out to me in our conversation is he told me that he was having some issues selling, but that he understood that things have changed in the sales, how you sell things now. From 2020 to today, things are much different. He said that people come in and they want a car, but at the same time, they're wanting too much car. So he thinks that people are just coming in and they're just putting their money on the table and saying, hey, this is the car I want. Now before the pandemic, that is what people were doing, but now you can't do that because the interest rate is high. And so you usually what's happening now, they have to find a bank or a loaner that's willing to put up a loan to back you, right? And usually what that comes back to the table with is more money down and a higher car note, a monthly note. These notes are now running somewhere around $700 to $800 a month on a car. So the days of the you go in and even if you have a 700 credit score now, your car note is still going to be high because the interest is on that
Right.
loan. Okay, and it's hard to find a dealer that can give you a low loan number. But this is something else that he said. He said that I'll try to just get the car moved. And what I try to do, because we're talking about reputation, we moved the conversation along. We're talking about reputation getting ahead of you. And then also, how do you get more customers? So he said that he depends on the people that he talks to, that say he sells a car to. If he get a sale, he figured those people know about 250 people in their network. Okay. And he wasn't far off. I'm gonna cover some data on that particular topic here in a second. He said those people have about 250 people in their network total overall that they know. Now that 250, he figured that they will share what kind of a great deal he gave them, the service, and so forth, with at least 30 people. Okay, these are the numbers he's just kind of pulling out and thinking that he's in that zone with, right? Now, if each person that he sells a car to, they're not salesmen, okay? So they're not covering the same bases that he's intentionally speaking to cover. They're talking about, okay, I like the car. It has this and this. I got all the bells and whistles in it, and this is what it's costing me. And sometimes they'll share, what they're paying a month on it, but usually they don't want to talk about that because it's too much. And so he's dependent on those people to keep him busy in sales. Now, the data on that is not adding up, right? Remember, if I'm going to be an intentional speaker, I'm speaking from awareness and purpose. Now, the data says this: over a person's lifetime, you're going to meet 80,000 people over your lifetime. Okay, 80,000 people. That's a lot of people. In your network, you're going to have anywhere from 100 to 150 people that you casually know. Okay. Now, I'm bringing this all the way back down to your inner circle. Out of those people, you're going to have let's say your social associate circle. That's going to be 10 to 15 people that you see and sometimes conversate with, right? Then your inner circle is going to be somewhere between 3 and 5 people. So from his perspective of counting on his customers to then help him sell a car, the math doesn't work out for him. So he's not going to be able to get consistent sales because he don't have a good plan of how to go about doing this. Those 150 people is acquaintances. Okay, those are people that you casually know, and you may know them maybe a little bit by face. But here's the other thing about that too. Over your lifetime of those, let's say those people, you don't even recognize any more than about 5,000 people in your whole circle that you know by face. You may not remember their name, but you'll know them by face.
Mm-hmm.
So as the math breaks down to this, you can't get somebody else to sell something for you or set up the sale for you,
Right.
and then you try to close it. The math just won't work out for you.
Right.
So that means you have to be far better than what you've ever been in connecting with people.
Sure.
And this is something else that he mentioned too. I asked him about was he online anywhere, right? He said no, he didn't like to go online, and he thought that that was a waste of time. So when he said that to me, I'm like, what world do you live in? Everybody is connected
Right.
to online now. You're not meeting these 250 people that you're talking. Their circle, they're not meeting them by telephone. They're not calling these people. They're in their friend group or community groups, and
Mm-hmm.
they're emailing and DMing, back and forth. That's how these people are staying connected. They're not using the telephone to do this. And he was a young guy too. So it kind of confused me for a few seconds that a guy in his early 30s didn't understand the online community to help him generate more sales. So if you're gonna, use old school techniques to sell today, you are not going to sell much of anything that you're trying to sell. It's just not going to happen for you. I don't care how good you can speak. You're only speaking to probably one or two people at a time.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas, like right now, as we're doing this show, we're worldwide. There are people all over the world watching this show. And some
Mm-hmm.
places it's the middle of the night, it's early morning.
Right.
Uh,
Right.
Yes.
Right. Right.
we're on
Right.
different time zones here in America. And so we're connecting with people all over the place at one time. And when they see the replay, it's the same thing. Opposed to him getting on the telephone and calling one customer and, hey Joe, you think you might be
Right.
interested in that
Right.
car we
Right.
have out there?
Right.
I finally got one in. I got a good deal for you. He's not going to sell that car because here's the other thing: people who make anywhere from 200 up to $300,000 a year and up, these people, when you communicate with them, it takes 5 times for them to make
Mm-hmm.
a decision on whether they are going to accept the deal or offer from you or not. They're not just like your common people who they'll say, well, and I'm not speaking it when I say common, I'm talking about your everyday people who don't give thought to, chiming in on what it's going to take to get a deal, right? These people will tell you, well, I'm not quite ready. Let me think about it. They'll keep telling you, let me think about it. Now, if you're used to dealing with people who are making less than that amount of money, then you don't understand when they tell you, let me think about it, I'm considering it. You think that that's the end of the deal. It's not. They're telling you that, okay, I'm thinking about it, but I have other things on my mind as well. So just come back to it. But if you haven't dealt with those people enough, you don't know that. So you're thinking, okay, well, he's not interested. And so you move on. That's the wrong thing to do because people at that level, they have a whole lot of other things going on. And so when you come and approach them with a deal or a sales pitch, they're not in. They're not in because at the moment they're tuning you out just a little bit, right? And so
Yes.
you have to stay committed to bringing the offer back to them at least 5 times. And on that fifth time, if they really think it's a good deal, they'll buy. But it takes 5 times to do that. Now the data backs this up, so I'm not just blurting out something to say that that's what it is. Everything that people want to do is based off of a pattern. And so it's the same thing when you're speaking. You have to figure out what your pattern is. So if you, let's say or talking to, like, let's say this speech was for, I'm in a business setting and I'm talking to them about what they're doing, right? I'm not going to speak directly about their process and how they do things. That doesn't interest me, right? Because I can't connect with what they do. I don't know what they're doing. So what I'm doing is trying to connect with how they go about doing that and the human connection in that. And so I'm going to speak about make the conversation two ways, for instance. Okay, I have a little box here I go down, but I'm going to go backwards in, so it's not in any particular order, right? So first the thing I want to do is connect with the reality of the emotion of what they're thinking, right? I connect there, then I want to take it to what are their aspirations, what do they want to get out of whatever the process is going on within the work structure. And the third thing I want to meet is I want to make sure it's impersonal. I don't want to personalize my conversation with them. I want to make it impersonal where it can connect. It's informal, like sort of like what I'm speaking now. It appears that I'm not going anywhere, but I'm going down a line. And so if you
Yes.
stay with me, I'm bringing you along on the journey with me, right? And the third thing I want to do is bring you into the present. I want to make sure that you're present with me. There's no past, no future, but we're right now. And the past and the present and the future are all happening at one time. It's all connected. It's not going on, from sometime yesteryear or sometime 10 years ahead. Everything is happening in the right now. If you put yourself in that moment, then you can see your yesterday and you can see your tomorrow at the same time. So I want to bring you along, right? And the third thing I want to do here, and I keep saying three because I'm using that as my energy level process, is I want to trigger the vision. I want to make sure that you see what you want to get done, not what I see for you, but what you see. If I can get you to see yourself in the picture of whatever it is you're trying to accomplish, then when I'm speaking to you intentionally, or you speaking to somebody else intentionally, they see themselves in that vision. So I'm not trying to paint a picture for you to see my dream for you. You're going to see what you need to see for yourself. And that's what's going to drive you to the motivation that you already have and inspire you to make the action to make it happen. Because it's going to take some action to do this, but you also need a strong belief. And everything that you do revolves around a belief system. If you have no belief system, you cannot do anything in life. You can function, but you're not going very far because you're going to be dependent upon a group to get you where you're trying to go. And in this world, everything that you do is individual. Now, it makes it hard, of course, because this life is hard. America itself thrives off of individualism. Okay, the system is set up to you where you come into a group, but they're pushing individual, and so your life is an individual process. Everything that you're going to do within the structure of the years that you have here, it's all going to be done based upon you. A group can get you opportunities, that can set
Right.
you up opportunities, but they can't make it happen for you. So it's just like somebody letting you through the door, and then you're not prepared to take that job. So when you get through, you kind of like looking around like, what do I do now? And they think that you already know what to do. They're like, wait a minute, how did I get you the job and you can't do it? And so
Right.
they
Right.
stick their neck out for you, but you can't take it any further than that. So now you're stuck, and at some point they're gonna knock on your door and say, well, you know what, we having a layoff, and you're gonna be caught up in the numbers. We're sorry, we like you and everything, but we're gonna have to let you go.
Mm-hmm.
So always keep yourself in a position where you're prepared. But when you speak to people, uh, social group, in a relationship, speak intentionally. We have situations where people will say one thing, but then their actions always take them in a different direction. So they're not speaking intentionally. They'll say they are, but they're not. You can watch what they do and see that, or they'll come back and change the direction and sort of look like they're not for sure of what they said. But when you speak intentionally, you're for certain about what you want to do. You're
Sure.
also for certain about where you want to go and why you
Sure.
said what you said. Because remember,
Right.
I said at the beginning of this, it's about awareness and purpose. Once those two things are completely aligned, You don't get confused on whatever you're going to say. It's all right there in front of you, and it stays in front of you. You can see the vision all the way through. Now, here's the other thing I want to touch base on, because I mentioned this part about the 5,000 people, that people on average, the average person recognizes 5,000 faces. Okay, now that's a lot of people, but you don't know all of those people though like
Right.
that. That's a lot of people and a lot of times, like in my phone, I have over 600 people listed as contacts in my phone. Right now, out of those 600 people, I talk to maybe, let's say, 50 to 100 of them, and within 6 month period. The other people in that stack of contacts, we don't make contact with one another unless they're calling me or contacting me because they need some advice, or asking me, or telling me about something. And that's the only reason I contact them. I don't need them for anything. They won't hear from me. But what usually happens in my situation is, after a while, and I don't know why people take on this energy, but they get worried about me. There's nobody out to get me or anything that I'm aware of anyway. But these people, if they haven't heard from me within 6 months to a year or so, they'll send me a message just to see if I'm still here. And while I'm talking about speaking intentionally, I shared this story once, and I'm going to make this one because I just want to include this as part of this intentional speaking. I went on a trip once, and a friend of mine who at the time was what's the title? He was a special agent. He was a special agent for the government, right? And so he and I talked all the time. But for this week, the last time we talked was the previous week, and he hadn't heard from me going into this new week. I just left town, and we didn't contact one another. So I was missing to him. He thought I was missing. So at the end of that week, on that Friday, since he hadn't heard from me, and he had been contacting me constantly, but I just didn't have a chance to respond to him, he started looking for me. So he used his access to the system to try and find out if something had happened to me or not. He thought maybe I'd been into a bad accident and I had died. So he started checking morgues. That's the first thing. He was going through his checklist. He thought my body was laid up in some morgue somewhere. And so he was checking these morgues across the USA to see if I had died and was lying in the morgue somewhere. So you have people who care about you, and sometimes you won't even know that they care about you like that. That's why you have to, when you speak intentionally, you can tell people that you care about them. You have a love for them like that.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah.
So
Right.
So
you
Right.
should
true.
always tell people that. So there's nothing wrong with you letting somebody know that, hey, I love you, and I don't worry about you, but just know that I love you. And so you know it's not that difficult to speak intentional. It is to not speak intention, because you carry that inside of you. Then you're not letting it out, so people don't know exactly what you want to really say to them, how you actually feel, or anything of that nature. In his situation, I know he and I were like brothers, so I knew he cared about me like that, but I didn't
Right.
know he would go to that extent. Thinking that something had happened to me like that.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, but yeah, so that's why you have to speak intentional whenever you speaking to somebody, especially in a relationship aspect too. You should let them know exactly what's on your mind.
True.
True.
People
True.
True.
people can't exactly read your mind. Some people can pick up energy from you and feel your
Right.
energy, so to speak, but they don't know exactly what you're thinking. And so there are very few people that walk the face of this earth that are able to do that. Now, between the three of us, we know people like that can actually pick up, and they basically a part of you. They can understand you like that.
Right.
But it's only a few people in this world that's able to do that. But everybody else, you have to speak intentionally to what you want, how you want them to know and feel about what you're doing. How you are as a person. So, but in your business setting, your personal setting, you have to be able to speak intentionally, especially in business. Whether you own the business or you're inside a corporate setting, or whatever your job or situation is, make sure people understand that if you feel like you're being disrespected or not heard, speak up. I mean, that you're going to gain the respect if you do that.
True.
If you don't say anything, then they're going to keep on walk. You feel like they're walking over you or disrespecting you. You have to let people know how you feel. So speak with, again, awareness and purpose. As long as you do that, then you won't lose control of what you need to have said or be said by you. You'll be able to be an emotional intelligence and speak it to where it's
True.
not offensive and you don't get offended with they whatever they come back to you, because you don't have to have an understanding. Just so you said what you needed to say, and that's well enough, because now they know how you feel and they won't approach you the same way. And that's what you're looking for, is for them to approach you a different way than what you feel like they've been approaching you with. But for your successes, use intentional speaking to get what you want. Okay, we talk about manifesting, especially on you guys' show. You guys have other people, Karen and Joan. You guys have people that come on your show that cover, in spiritual talk, and so forth. And a lot of times, we talk about manifesting, and people don't understand that they can actually do that. So when you speak from a position of authority. And the only way you can do that is from experience. Whatever you've experienced gives you authority to what you're speaking about.
Right.
So that's how easy it is to become an expert. Like here, like on LinkedIn, for instance, I'll share this with you. On LinkedIn, I get things from LinkedIn asking me questions to, respond to, right? And they consider me an expert at whatever this is that they wanted me to speak about, right? So they'll send me a message saying, we consider you an expert in this area. So what are your thoughts on it, right? And I see it as a challenge. So I usually respond to it and give it my, experience from the doing it or either being around it. And so for them to send that out to me like that legitimizes me into their eyesight as an expert for what they want to do with what they're doing on LinkedIn, right? And so that's what I'm telling you is, whatever you've done in your life, consider that your expertise, and then speak from that position with authority, because
Right.
you know what you're talking about, because you've experienced it. Nobody else
True.
can tell you, well, that's not good enough. It is good enough. I mean, we live in a world right now where everything is about speech for the most part, because we're online. Now they're asking you to, also now you can go back into blogging and doing blogs too, and you don't even have to be on camera. Now you can do audio, right? So like, for instance, I'm speaking right now. Karen can take this and chop it up, edit it, and you just hear my voice. You won't even see us. So there are things that you can do that's going to help keep you moving in the direction that you want to go. I want you to be successful. Whatever success is to you is all that matters. So do not try to make your progress based upon what somebody else thinks that it should be like here, because that's artificially thinking. And we're in the era now of authenticity. Everything that you do is about being authentic. And as long as you can do that, you'll get to where you want to go. You don't need, 100,000 followers or anything like that. I just break down the numbers to show you, between myself and the car salesman, of how his, numbers don't add up to what he wants to do. You don't need a big following to be successful online or in business either. You just need consistency. You need those same people being willing to buy a product or a service from you. If you can do that, you will be very successful. Like, for instance, in content, if you just have 1,000 consistent followers on, let's say, YouTube, you can generate a good living. You can generate enough money to sustain yourself. There are people that are making, up to $100,000 plus on that site of YouTube, but then there are people that's making $50,000 a year, $20,000. In some cases, they're making this in 2 weeks, a month. So but you have to be intentional with your speaking in order to put yourself in a position to do that.
Right.
Like even with this video that we're shooting right now, I tell people when they say, okay, well, I think I want to start a channel, right? And I'm worried I don't have X, and X. I'm like, don't worry about that stuff. That stuff comes later. What people are really interested in is what's your message? What
Right.
can you
Right.
add
Right.
to their life that's going to be a solution to what they're looking for? all the other stuff you're talking about. You see people with nice boom mics and the lighting and all this stuff tricked out. Now I come from TV. I came out of TV. That's my background. So even if you have all of that, you're not guaranteed to be success. You know, there are channels on YouTube, for instance, that boast they have 1 million followers, right? Okay, if you got 1 million followers, then why are you still asking people to subscribe? you when they tune into the show, if you're new to the show, don't forget to hit that button and subscribe. You don't need them. If you already have 1 million people following you and watching your show, what you surely you can still grow, but at 1 million, you've already been successful. It's television programs that don't have 1 million viewers, but they still on TV because of the advertising revenue
Mm-hmm.
that network is generating from that show. But the mark is 1 million. If you get to 1 million on TV, that's a successful show now. It didn't used to be, but it is now. Even at 500,000, you're in the game. Now,
Mm-hmm.
if you're already generating 1 million viewers on your YouTube channel or Instagram or wherever else you may be, if you actually have that many people that's watching that or viewing it, you're already successful. All you got to do
Right.
then is sell the advertising. If you sell the commercials to that, you turn that into a network. It's a network at that point. So you don't even need to pitch the show to anybody else. Once you get to that level,
Yeah.
you are the show. You are the network. You don't need to take it to a bigger platform. They gonna come to you because they'll eventually figure, okay, if you have 1 million, we can get you another 1 million to that, and our advertising opportunities are unlimited. And so they'll come to you and start making you offers, and that's what you're looking for. So be able to speak your mind per se when you speak intentional. Now, I'm not talking about like when you get upset with somebody and then you start, then everybody speaks intentional at that point. When they get upset uh, about something, you don't hesitate to say what's on your mind. You just say it. But you have to be in that mindset all the time. And that's what I'm trying to tell you now. That's why I want you to be in awareness and purpose so you can always speak intentional. Okay? And so those are the things that's going to help you to get to where you want to go. It's not that difficult to do. It's not hard to speak intentional. And if you're interested in how words actually work for you, just study. And it's not it's not a whole lot of words. Actually, it's like 25. That's what I cut mine off at 25. There are 25 words that I use consistently all the time. That they have as many as 100, but the frequency on these words tap into again the subconscious, which is what you want to speak to when you speak. And so, like right now, we sit here before you. You're listening to this, and I've talked to your subconscious this entire message because again, at the beginning of it, I said I am. Your subconscious then started listening to what I had to say. So even if you didn't finish, some people may have left this message and say, okay, well, I kind of know some of this stuff you're talking about, so I'm going to tune out. I'm still in their subconscious because I said I am at the beginning of it. And as Joan happened to mention this, she said I am, and then she mentioned I am again, and then she said it again. So Joan was tapping into your subconscious, and you didn't even know that's what she was doing. You'll remember her. No matter where you go, your mind will think about her. Whether you remember her name or not, you remember this lady said, I am. That's your subconscious bringing her back up to your conscious mind. So she will stay in your thoughts forever, forever, because she said, I am. So whenever you're speaking to someone and you want to be intentional about it, the first words that you say are the ones that open the subconscious mind up.
Mm-hmm.
So if I criticize you in my first 2 or 3 words, your subconscious doesn't connect with that because it's already a doubting Thomas, right? So if you're trying to beat it down even further, it's going to reject that. It's going to say that's why you don't talk negative to people, because once you start doing that, the subconscious is going to shut down and say, wait a minute, I'm already doubting myself. So what the hell I need you to tell me that
Right.
I'm not?
Right. Right.
But why I need you to try to finish me off like that? I'm not listening to you. And once the subconscious got shuts down on you, nothing that you say is being registered. That's why people, especially with little kids, if you notice when you're speaking to them and they you know, kind of don't hear you because they keep doing what they're doing, when you
Mhm.
start yelling at them or you start in on, well, you're always doing something bad, then that subconscious automatically shuts you out of their thoughts. So they don't hear anything that you said. That's why on the Charlie Brown cartoon, those parents would always sound like blah blah blah, because that's what's going on. It's a kids world. They're in the kids world. So the adults are speaking, they don't hear them because they're not in the same world. They're in a whole different dimension. They're living in the kids world. That's why that cartoon is based around the adventures of what they're doing. That's why you never see a parent. I've never seen a parent in that cartoon, because they were showing you the perspective from a kid's view. And in most movies that you watch today, that they have on Disney or whatever, the parent will be like a kid in the movie. And so you're saying no parent is going to act like that. But the parent is entering the world that the kid is presenting to you, not the other way around. It's not from the adult's perspective, it's from the kid's perspective. So in that situation, the parent is integrated into the kid's world, and that's why they always seem like they're lost and don't know what's going on. The kid is wise to what's happening because it's from their perspective of the world that they live in. And so
Right.
when you speak intentionally, again, make sure that when you speak it, you mean what you are saying. And it's, both
Mhm.
ladies covered this at the beginning. They both said, when you say something, mean what you say.
Mhm.
So it's a lot more than just saying it and then you move in a different direction. You have to move with the energy that you're speaking with. Once you do that, everything else will start to gradually fall into place. People will come to get you where you're trying to go. You see, all of this stuff works together. So a lot of times you speak your way into the door that you want to go through.
True.
You see? Because if you don't have the opening to get through that door, what you are speaking to someone else, they have access or they know somebody who has access. They will mention your name to this person that has access. That gets you through the door. Once you get through that door, your authority takes over from there, and then you can complete the sale, close. You can close. I'm going to close my speech with this. I had a company out of Canada contact me, right? I'm not going to call their name, but they contacted me and they wanted to have me join this organization that they have, right? The pitch, I told them, I said, I'll listen to the pitch. I'll listen to it. Now, the pitch was basically built around them closing. So that's all they were really trying to do. So after I listened to about 10 minutes of the pitch, I interrupted the lady. I told her, I said, look, at this point, all you've done is try to close me. You haven't figured out what I need from you that would get me interested in actually being a part of what you're talking about. So for that reason alone, I'm not going to be interested in what you're doing. Now I like what you're doing, but all you try to do is close me, and so I'm not interested from that. I'm not interested. So a lot of times in the sale of any kind of product or service, people make the mistake of continually trying to close instead of trying to connect with you to find out what it is that you need. And that's where we are in this era here of authenticity. You're trying to figure out what people need solution wise to get them to where they want to go. If you do that, you won't have any problem selling anything that you sell. I don't care what it is, you'll be able to sell it. And so, I guess, you know, with this, with where I am right now, I think that I will close it up, and we, can discuss what I just talked about if you want to. So that's it for me.
Wow.
Wow.
You touch on some great, great points here, Will, and it's to help people to understand that speaking intentionally is about communicating.
It is.
And you have to communicate with clarity. You got to communicate with purpose, and you have to be mindful of what you're communicating. It's not
Right.
just about what you say, but how and why you say it.
Mhm.
That's very, very important. How and why you say it. And you have to be clear on your purpose.
Right.
I really like how you point that out. You have to be clear with your intentions. Because many times you find that people are not clear with their intentions. They are just not clear. And then when you get down the road, you become pretty upset with the person that you're dealing with. But if you're going in and you're not clear, there is no clarity when you're going in, of course you're going to got problems down the road. You will got problems down the road. So you have to be clear. You got to be clear with your purpose. You have to be clear. That is why you have to be intentional with what you're saying. And whatever you say, it has to be the truth. Because you will encounter people. Because the thing is, people are gonna find you out along the line.
Yeah.
If you're not true, people are gonna find you out. Because if you got up this facade and you're going in and thinking that, you know what, oh, I'll get off in the middle, it's not gonna work. It's not gonna work. And you have to choose your words thoughtfully. You have to choose what you want to say. That's intentional. That's speaking intentionally. You have to choose your words. And the thing is that our language reflects our values. What we speak, it reflects us. So you have to be so, so careful in what you say. Right, John? And be present in the moment. When you're
Absolutely.
being intentional, be present in the moment. John?
Well, you service well.
Thank you.
When you talk about the authority, then you have the authority because whatever you is your expertise in, then you have the authority to speak on that. You also spoke about readiness and preparation because someone can get you through the door, but are you ready? Are
Mm-hmm.
you prepared? Do you have the level of self-awareness? Because
Mm-hmm.
you get there, but how equipped are you to function? And as when you spoke about in the everything works because you have to be it as an individual. You have to able to function because you can belong to a group, you can belong to a community, but when it comes down to you as a person, you the individual, it's all on you.
It is.
It's all in you. So
Hmm.
the amazing thing is that we have to move with the intentions, but how we moving with it? On purpose, with passion, with focus, with self-awareness, belief, because we have to believe in ourselves. We have to believe what we're talking about.
Have to. Have to.
You have to believe what you're talking, because as you made a reference with someone who is selling something, right? They're trying to pitch you, they're trying to sell you something. But however you're selling, how are you selling? Do you believe in yourself? Do you believe what you're saying so that you can convince the other person to buy? Your strategy, it is so important.
Yeah. Yeah.
So you have outlined how it's important to be intentional. And also, as you spoke about a salesman, you really have to have an open mindset
Do.
because if you move with intention and you don't have an open mindset, how can you function in the world that we're living in today?
Gonna be hard.
It's going to be hard because if your mindset is so fixed, well, this is always the way I've been doing business, this is always the way it is, and you closed off, then you're not allowing yourself to elevate and move to another level. You're not letting in new information, adding new skills to yourself so that you can live the life of success and be successful. Correct?
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Absolutely
That's
right, John.
right.
You're absolutely right. Yeah, you are right. The thing is that As I said,
Thank
we
you.
have to, when we are speaking intentionally, we have to be present in the moment.
That's
Have
important.
We have to listen before we respond. That is very important as well. Because if you don't listen, how are you going to respond? And sometimes you don't even have to respond to what the person is saying. Because sometimes you don't even have to engage with that individual. Remember, we all have a choice. And if someone is saying something, you don't have to engage in that conversation. You can walk away.
Right.
You have that choice. You have that choice to, you know what? I am not going to exchange my energy
Mm-hmm.
with what you are saying,
Right.
that.
because I'm going to be intentional about what I'm saying,
Mm-hmm.
you know. And many times people don't like what we say,
That's the problem.
you know. Many times people don't like what
Mm-hmm.
we say, but you stay true to yourself. You stay true to your values. And as Michelle said, your character as well. You stay true to yourself. Don't shift.
Mm-hmm.
Do not shift, because you know who you are, and you know that what you're saying is with integrity. So the best thing is to just walk away, because you don't want to exchange yourself. Because then another thing too, you gotta match your tone. Your
I
tone.
just about to mention that your tone is
Yeah.
important because how you
Hmm.
come across, right?
Yes.
How you come across, that tone is so important because
Yeah.
That's what.
your
Yeah.
tone carry a level of energy,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
So you have to able to manage that tone, and I think that is where it comes to with your emotional intelligence,
Yes.
Right.
because
Yes.
how are you handling a situation
Mhm.
that is happening, and the way you're responding, and things can go so different in so many ways.
Yes.
We can.
So that's why sometimes you choose not to respond because it might not
Yes.
be the right thing to do, because what you might be
Mhm.
about to say might not be able to be in a level of harmony.
Absolutely.
It does not align with you. So
Mhm.
before, just silence is golden.
Yeah.
Huh?
So true. So true. So
You
true.
know, you two ladies just mentioned something about tone there. While I was talking to this male salesman at this dealership, one of the female salesmen walked by as we're standing there talking, right? And she U-turns and comes back to where we're standing. So when she comes back, she says, "Excuse me" to us, and she, introduces herself. And she says the reason that she had to turn around and come back is that she could feel my energy as she went by. And so I shared this story with you guys before we went on air. But she came back. She said, "Who are you?" You know, because I can feel your energy. As I went by, I had never felt anything like that. But you have a positive energy about you, and it's
Mhm.
hot. She said, I can feel you, basically. And so she had to come back and introduce herself. She said, I just had to come back and just let you know that, and that's awareness, right? Because at that point,
Mhm.
we hadn't said anything to each other. As she went by, the two sales, her and the other salesman kind of acknowledged each other, but I'm talking to him, so she doesn't say anything to me because that's infringing on his sale, right? So,
Right.
so she keeps going, but she had to come back because she felt my energy as she went by us, and so she wanted me to know that what she felt gave her a boost. It boosted her. So you never know how somebody is going to
True.
react to you, as you ladies mentioned, and that's what their tone is about. So when you're speaking, or whether you even if you're not, the tone that you carry, which is vibration, that comes off you. And I wrote something on LinkedIn about this. I was responding to somebody else's storyline, but they had posted something, and people don't know this, but your skin has a vibration to it. Joan talked to me a little bit before our last show. We talked about energy a little bit, but your skin has a vibration to it. Okay, your body is nothing but energy, but you don't respect that and see it that way. But people, and I said this last time we did a show together, people who understand this stuff, you use it. And when you are using it, it benefits you because it gives you advantages on everybody else. And so, because they don't believe it or don't set themselves up to accept it, and so they can't see or feel what's going on. But this world is not as simple as you think it is. There are a lot of things going on in this world that certain people are tapping into what you don't see, what you
Mm-hmm.
don't know, and they're using this stuff because it
Right.
works. It's real. And so I wanted to touch base on two other things real quick here. It's because I mentioned, about the data and talking about the number of people. Now, in a person's lifetime, okay, the data shows that people will know 611 people in their whole lifetime. That's how many people that you will actually know, okay? Now, but you will meet over the same lifetime 80,000 people. 80,000 people you will come into contact with that you may not ever see again, brief conversation here or there in a store or something, or just in passing. You'll
Mm-hmm.
meet 8,000 people. But remember, I said in my phone contact list, I have 600 people in my contacts. Now, over a person's lifetime, they are expected to only know 611 people over their whole life. Whole life.
Okay.
So I have two phones. Those two phones are filled with each one of those same people. And then some, one of them has a few different people listed in it. But 611 people in your lifetime, and in my contacts, and I'm not the only person that has this kind of number in their contact list. When you have encountered or have that many people in your contact list that you know, and it's not even your lifetime yet,
Right.
so there are people that I've taken out, don't even contact anymore. So I've had well over probably 800 or so people
Mm-hmm.
at one time or another in my phone. But because I'm so easygoing and easy to meet, and remember, at one time, my resolution for what I consider a New Year's resolution was to meet 100 new people for that year. That was my resolution. I stopped doing that in 2017, I think was the last time I did it. And so I moved to something else. Like, for instance, this year, my resolution was to make contact on society and influence people that can make change in society.
Mm-hmm.
That's what my resolution is. It's operative art is what it's called, where you speak to intentionally affect people to where they go on and affect other people, and
Right.
it's a trickle down effect. It just keeps bouncing around to where those people are making change in the world. So that's what I'm trying to do with this year. It's a special year, so I'm trying to do that. But as you mentioned, when you speak intentional, you're speaking to give yourself life to do what you think you want to do. So you're not just speaking it just because it's something that you want to just get out of your system or off your chest or out of your head. You're speaking whatever you're saying in order to help other people and help you at the same time do certain things. And so it's nothing wrong with you saying what you, like you said, Karen, speak what you need to say to somebody. And if you're authentic about it, the rest will take care of itself. It just will. Even the people that's around you who can't be authentic, they will fall away. They will drop off because they can't keep their energy up around you because they can feel your energy is authentic. You're being who you really are. And so by doing so, it's going to help you get rid of people who can't do that, who are faking who they are or don't like you or whatever it is. They can't hang around you because your energy level is too up, positive, or however you want to put it. It's going to be too strong for them to stay around you. They're going to
Right.
have to leave. And so let them go when they need to go. Let them go. There's somebody else coming in to replace them, and so
True.
they have to go. They have to
True.
go because your journey doesn't include them any longer.
Right.
You've
True.
done everything
True.
you can do with them, and what's ahead of you, you're going to need this new people coming in to
So
get you where
to
you're trying
move
to
you
True.
go.
forward, yes, advance you
Exactly.
forward. Mm-hmm.
Exactly. So
So right,
And
Well.
and
It's
and
so
it's and
right.
it's okay. It's okay when it because sometimes there are necessary endings.
Absolutely,
Sometimes
absolutely.
there
Even
are
in
necessary
relationships,
endings.
they hurt, but sometimes it's necessary. Absolutely, absolutely. You're right
And
about
it's
that.
okay. And let the endings be with love, regardless whatever is that ending. Because at once upon a time,
It was.
it
Yes, you're right. You're
Once
right.
upon a time, it served you, you know.
it serve you.
Yes,
It's
it did.
serving the
It
moment,
did.
regardless how the ending is.
Mm-hmm.
You gotta always go back. You send them off with love. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
You
I
send it
said
out
that
with
before
love.
too. You know something, Joan? You said that on a few shows a few times, but it's true. It's true. And so if you can send somebody off with love, even though at the time that they leave, they won't like it, but it serves them better if once they come to accept it and move forward, they can see that okay, I wasn't supposed to be able to go the distance with them. They're moving on to something that I shouldn't be in because I'm not ready for that. I'm not prepared for that. So I need to let them go.
Absolutely.
Right.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And once you can come to that acceptance and self-awareness that this is it, and we all have our own separate journeys to move forward on,
Right.
it's all good. It's okay.
Mm-hmm.
It is.
Yeah.
you know
Yes.
and as you rightfully
Mhm.
mentioned, as the that those endings become, then there are new beginnings, and then you embrace the new beginnings, and as they come in and fall into place, and then you celebrate that, and then it becomes joyous, and you move into something beautiful, something blissful, and there is where the magic happens.
Mhm. Yeah. So true. Wow. This was such a good conversation.
Beautiful, beautiful,
Yeah, it
beautiful,
was a very,
amazing.
very, very nice conversation, you know. And something comes to mind is that when we are intentional, when we are self aware, you know, and when we are having a conversation with someone, we can step and ask ourselves, is this conversation inspiring me? You know, is this conversation going to resolve an issue? You know, before you continue that conversation, because you're showing up fully, you're showing up intentionally to speak, you know, but you need to ask yourself those questions. Is this going to inspire me? Is this going to give me information that I need? Are we going to build a connection here? Or this conversation going to resolve a problem? You know, before you really kind of continue with that conversation with someone. Because many times when you're speaking to people, it's the conversation's not heading anywhere,
Yeah,
you
that
know?
happens a lot.
Hmm.
Yeah. Yeah.
The energy that you're putting out, it's not being reciprocated. So
Right.
sometimes you just got to walk away from conversations, and it's quite okay.
It is.
It's
It's
quite
quite
okay.
okay. Of course, it's okay. I
Yeah.
mean, the goal is that adding value, adding value. And I think that's the goal, is moving intentionally too. And how can we add value to someone else?
Mm-hmm.
And how
Mm-hmm.
someone else can add value to us.
Mm-hmm.
Because as we reciprocate that, and we continue to add value, then it the work becomes more, the relationship, the friendship is
Yeah.
become more substantial,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
more profound, for a better
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
word.
yes. That's that's some deep conversation you just had there, Joe. Yeah. But
Mm-hmm.
that's what it is though, you know? So,
Yeah, that's what it is. Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. That's what it is, you know.
you know, before I let you, Karen, step in here, let me mention something that Joan just covered there. See, in relationship, you don't get a lot of this speaking intentionally going to each other. And so the relationship usually won't start off that way. And if you don't start it speaking intentionally, then there's no way for you to
True.
get to that point. So
True.
everything about the relationship is all fake, you know? And so
Absolutely.
that's why today we hear a lot of this, you know, 50-50. I don't want to be a 50-50.
Right. Right.
I gotta
Right.
date somebody making six figures and you know, we covered
Mm-hmm.
that type of
Mm-hmm.
stuff. But
Yeah, we did. Right. We did. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
so
But
yeah, it's
yeah.
important. It's so important that you speak and the women that and the men too that feel like they have to be in that position, they putting themselves out because they're missing out on a lot of good people when you do that. And so it's you know you can't. But if you don't know again awareness and your purpose, You can't speak in intention.
Right,
You can't.
right,
That's right.
exactly.
You gotta know
Exactly.
your purpose, indeed.
And that is why it's important for alignment.
Right.
Yeah.
That is why it's important for alignment, because when you can align together, know your core values, and then
Mm-hmm.
we can have something,
Right.
something
Mm-hmm.
solid. We have self-awareness.
Mm-hmm.
We have a level of clarity.
Mm-hmm.
That's
So
right.
it's it is it's a lot when you can have the level of awareness,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
so that all those things can come together, and we can have something beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
We can enjoy the bliss.
Oh,
Mm-hmm.
that's where you want to be. That's where you want to be. Absolutely.
Bliss. Wow, this was so great.
Wow,
Well, we want
beautiful,
to thank you
beautiful.
so much for taking the time and sitting with us this evening and really enriching us with your wisdom, because there was so much to take away from here this evening that we can all benefit from and understand speaking intentionally what it involves, you know. And the thing is that we all need to speak intentionally. We all need to speak intentionally. We got to start from somewhere, and you got to watch your tone. You got to watch your tone, because a lot of times our tone is not nice at all. So we all need to look at our tone when we're communicating and get what we want to say across in a very respectful manner and in a very respectful way to whoever we are speaking to.
That's true.
So, Will, thank you once again, and to the audience, to Michelle Ramos. We want to thank Linda. We want to thank Zion. We want to thank Guy Pierce. We want to thank David Jones. And if I forget any other person in the room, thank you so much for joining us this evening. We really
Appreciate
appreciate. And don't forget to share us out. If you know someone who is looking to be a speaker, they can come into this space and they can really launch themselves out. This is a launching pad. They can come here and they can give a pitch, and you never know who's going to be listening to really grab you up. So share this out, tell a friend to tell a friend, and we're going to continue to bring you these informative discussions that it can really help you, an individual, at whatever space you're in. You can really get up and start to move and look at yourself with worth, because you are worthy enough and you are worthy of your purpose. And don't allow nobody to tell you that you're not worthy, because you are worthy. You are worthy. You came in this life and you came with a purpose, and you are here. And once you are here, you can deliver that purpose to the world. The world is waiting on you to tell your story. So thank each and every one of you on LinkedIn, our LinkedIn family. Thank you so much. Our YouTube family, thank you so much for joining us. Our Facebook family, thank you so much for joining us. Our IG family, thank you so much for joining us. We really appreciate you and we love you guys so much. Don't forget to subscribe to Soul Light and Body, that you will never miss none of these episodes. Thank you guys so much.
Thank
Joan,
you.
thank you so much for being here as well.
We are all in this
it. Absolutely.
together.
Yes, we are.
Yes,
Yes,
we
we are.
are.
We are one. We are one.
Exactly.
And I just need to say something to before we jump off. Somebody maybe need to hear this, that just remember that your past does not define you.
Absolutely.
Your
Absolutely, yes.
past does not define you.
Yes. It does
Every
not.
day is a new day. Every day is a fresh start. And you've got so much amazing things is on your pathway that is lined up for you. Walk in the season of abundance, walk in the season of miracles, and just continue to believe in yourself, because
Yes.
you are amazing.
Thank you.
Oh, that's good, Joe. That was good. Good.
Thank you.
And don't forget our master class.